Hey YouTube, I got another recap of Operation Devil Dogs for you. This is a recap of round 5. Before I get into it, here is the Boneyard Dish casualty bin. So quite a bit of action this turn. We have some fighters. Went down in a blaze. We got some Ottoman units, some German units, a lot of Chinese units on both sides, mostly the Empire. We got some more neutrals aligned and some Italian units. A whole lot of infantry, basically. A few artillery, but and also more German subs and French cruiser. So yeah, fun stuff. Okay, now let me see if I can remember exactly what happened every turn. Let's see. Okay. As usual, I try to go in turn order. Oh, sorry, that is actually over here. Try to go into turn order, but sometimes I gotta deviate a little bit from that. But anyway, here we go. Austria-Hungary smacked the Italians in Tyrol. Got quite a bit of hits against them. They lost basically mostly infantry. Yeah, I think all infantry. In response, but they dipped into, I believe they dipped into the Italian artillery a little bit. And then as you can see, the Italians pulled their force back into Veneto. Let's see what else. Let's see. The Austrians hit eastern Ukraine to contest it, and lost from some units. They were all absorbed by the trench works, but they just basically hit it so that they could contest it. There were originally 6 Russian infantry there. So Russia, on their turn, pulled most of them out and just continued to stack Volga right up here. Let's see. Austria-Hungary also built a sub, I believe, this turn, if I'm recalling correctly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they built a sub this turn. And, oh, sorry, zoom out a little too far for my liking. Okay, and, let's see. He got a elite via field technology, so that went down in Serbia. Austria-Hungary now has 3 elites. So the standoff over here has continued, as it were, with the Central Powers kind of, all 3 of us congregating in Crimea. Again, in terms of who's playing who, I am playing Germany, and Krautfather's playing Austria-Hungary and the Ottoman Empire. And Madman is playing Russia. He's astoundingly good at Russia. He's playing Russia, the US, Italy, and Empire of China. And Jonah is playing United Kingdom, or not United Kingdom, British Empire technically, because it's everything. And he's playing France and Japan. All right, backing up to Russia. Madman continued to stockpile in Volga as we have continued to stockpile in Crimea. These are all the Germans that are in Crimea. These are all the Austrians that are in Crimea. So fun stuff. He pulled a lot of his fast movers up to, and units up to Crimea. He pulled 1 fast mover to Crimea, built some cavalry, and sent fast movers to Kazan to tow those guys. Those are the last of the Far East units that have made their way over. He's not continued to build the Trans-Siberian Railway this entire turn, this entire game, other than the first round. He extended it into Siberia, but he's very confident of himself, and he wants to make every use of every dollar that he can. So no Trans-Siberian Railway looks like this game. Let's see what else. Let's see. He left his dreadnought out in C-Zone 26. He still has a cruiser down here in C-Zone 34 in the Black Sea that's convoying the Central Powers, rather annoyingly. So Central Powers are going to have to build a ship in order to take that out. We'll see. Yeah, we got some fast movers. We got some trucks in Volga for him. As you can see, the one French infantry met up with the Russians there in Volga. And yeah, he's got a big stockpile of guys. All those chips are fivers. I'm not going to count how many dudes he has, but it is a lot. He has got a lot of infantry there. And he's got, what is that, 12, 15 artillery right there, it looks like, and 2 fighters. Anyway, fun stuff. But yeah, he basically spread out a little bit, but kept his stack here, but now he has another stack up here that we're going to have to contend with. Germany, after Britain built all those units there, Germany pulled its fleet back to Sea Zone 21 and built a dreadnought. They also congregated in Alsace. So all of this stuff here is in Alsace. If you're not a fan of task force markers, I apologize, but sometimes it's just easier for me to do that with this particular game because there's just so many units in play. It's kind of crazy. All of this French stuff is right here in Lorraine, Verdun. So we're having the standoff right here. And yeah, so basically Germany was overall kind of a light turn in terms of combat. It was more of a repositioning turn for them. They tried to bomb Petrograd, failed, even though there's no fighters and there's the bomb just it wasn't accurate enough. So no IPCs were lost by the Russians, and then they used another Zeppelin to transport more guys down to Alsace there. Let's see. Yeah, but basically we got all of this stuff. We got some elites. There's a minefield and a trench works in Alsace. And down here in Africa, we have this kind of a situation going on right here with the Germans kind of taking over almost all of Central Africa. And the last of the Pacific units have made their way over yonder this way to Sea Zone 39. And that has the Allies sweating, of course. You know, Allies never like any Central Power ships in the Indian Ocean, but is what it is. What else? Okay. In terms of what Germany has left in the Pacific, they just have German New Guinea, Bismarck Archipelago. They are controlling Papua and New Zealand currently. They also still control French Polynesia, all of which the Allies will have to liberate those in order to get the Pacific Colony Point, and they'll have to take out those 2 remaining territories, German territories right there. Let's see, Germany walked into empty Italian Somaliland, which on the Ottomans' turn, they had a cavalry and infantry in British East Africa that originated from Darfur. And those guys, since that cleared the way from them, that allowed them to tow that infantry with the cavalry to Dervish state. So that's fun. Although actually maybe he left a guy behind. I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna have to check that. This was done in a message afterwards. So at the very least, he towed a cavalry up there into Dervish state and activated that. So we got some even more Ottoman units in Africa right now, down around here. Excuse me. Okay, Germany also started stockpiling some stuff in Poland, sending new units that way, leaving a few fast movers, or, you know, whenever I say fast movers, that refers to trucks and cavalry, which can tow other units. And those are the only land units that can move 2 spaces and stuff. What else? Okay, Germany also built a fighter and 2 tanks over here in Rhine province in Bavaria, and another truck as well, I think. Yeah, or maybe they left that, I can't remember, just to get some flex. Oh, no, they did not build that guy. They did not build this turn, they just left it there. They did build a truck in Africa, because you can build trucks. You can build out of military bases, you can build trucks, infantry, or cavalry. Those 3 things exclusively. They're not quite as good as cities, you know. So they built a truck there, which will give them a little bit of mobility, which is kind of cool. What else? What else? Let's see. Basically covers the German turn. They took out, oh yeah, that one more thing. They took out, with the subs that were here, there was a French cruiser left here in Sea Zone 20. So 2 subs took out that French cruiser, and getting rid of French sea units is always a nice thing to do. So they don't have a, you know, it's all exclusively British and American sea units, basically. The only French sea units left on the board, we got a transport over here, and we got a transport over here. So part of my strategy basically was to kind of pull the French units out of the Med to leave the Ottomans and Austrians alone for a bit, or at least get them out of position. But given the opportunity to, as it arose, I decided to just take them out. Now the Brits, as you can see, moved in and destroyed those 2 subs without any casualties. These 2 fighters are actually in this sea zone. They originate in Wales. They go 1-2. A fighter in this game can end its movement in a sea zone as long as you can pair it with a dreadnought of your own power, and you're limited to 3. You can only have a max of 3 fighters in sea zone. This is basically kind of like a early prototype scrambling rule variation, essentially. But you can have, they're not on the dreadnoughts as like, they're not on the dreadnoughts like an aircraft carrier. They're basically allowed to do like a combat air patrol, you know, kind of a move there. So you can end a fighter of your power with your dreadnought, of the same power, in a sea zone, as long as it's adjacent to a territory that you control. So you cannot just to clarify, this can never happen, okay? And this can never happen because Britain doesn't control one of those territories. Or actually, maybe that can if it's friendly. I gotta double check the rule, but at the very least, this cannot happen. This can never happen. Maybe it might actually be, no, sorry, man. Yeah, it might be actually, I'll have to double check it because this rule doesn't come up very often in the game. But actually, if the adjacent territory is friendly, you may be able to do it. I'm gonna have to double check that. But anyway, it's some variation of that. But just so you know, you also can't do, you know, like that. You can't go into a hostile sea zone and leave a fighter in that territory, and the dreadnought has to be undamaged. So you can only do it. You can only do this move with a dreadnought that is undamaged. Okay. Anyway, then they also sent up their cruiser and their transports to get the Canadian units out of Canada, which is always something that Britain wants to do. But it is usually a pain in the butt to do so. But delaying the Canadians from landing until mid-game, kind of a nice thing. All right. What else? Okay, they moved their units from Brittany into Picardy. These are British units here. Got some guys there. France just took out Belgium and Switzerland. There was a German unit, German infantry in each of those territories. And then France liberated Nigeria finally. It was contested previously, so they liberated Nigeria for Britain. And let's see, what else? I already mentioned that guy moving up over there. It's basically what France did this game. Backing up to British Empire, we got the standoff going on down here. Pulled the guy out from German Southwest Africa to that, to South Africa proper. They did a big hit on Mesopotamia. So this was probably the big battle of the game, of this, not the game, but of this turn. They did a big hit against the Ottomans here in Mesopotamia. And there was a fighter, and a dogfight occurred, and they just took each other out. So that was kind of cool. No ace fighters in the game so far. Almost happened here, but yeah, they took each other out, and the Brits got just a good amount of hits, a very good amount of hits against the Ottomans. The Ottomans went down blazing and knocked out a bunch of British infantry. So right now there's only 3 British infantry in contested Mesopotamia. And nothing over here changed. nothing over here changed for Britain, at least. Japan knocked out Palau Islands and also German Samoa. That's what they did this turn. Italy, or not Italy, let's go to Ottomans. Ottomans built a whole bunch of artillery, congregated in Mesopotamia, pulled artillery out of Mesopotamia to the Syrian desert, and yeah, basically did that. Kept some guys here, and oh yeah, there was Arabia was empty. He moved a guy over from here, brought a guy down, did that whole little thing, keeping the pressure here in Egypt. Britain had also taken guys from Egypt to do this attack as well. They brought over their 2 artillery, so there's no British artillery here in Egypt. So them making a push this way is going to be a little difficult unless they ambiguously assault. But, you know, got them preemptive strikes from the Ottoman artillery, so that's never fun. Plus they got a fighter. So this standoff just kind of continues with the Italians patting them quite well. Italy walked in and emptied Darfur. They did that this game, and like I said earlier, they pulled back here and just built more, and they built another cruiser, built more lanyards here in Rome, and built another cruiser. What else? Okay, that's basically about it. America, because America's in the war. America sent their transport over from Marshall Islands this way. They left their dude in Marshall Islands and Trinidad, which is a German territory, because there's a national objective for America that as long as they have at least 1 American unit in any original Central Power territory, they get $2 per. So there's that. Brazil and Chile are having the standoff with poor Bolivia in the way. Nothing really much happened over here. America brought over a whole bunch of dudes up to Brittany. So there are Americans on their way to the Western Front, and we got some cruisers and dreadnought action going on into the Mediterranean over here. We also have another American cruiser meeting up with the Brits up there in Sea Zone 2. What else? That's about does that. And then on the China front, Madman always gets boned with the National Protection War. And he did a last-ditch attempt on attacking the Republic of China's stack in Hopei. And he rolled below average, and Krautfather rolled above average. But he did contest Hopei. But as you can see, there's not many Empire of China units left. And then the rest of the Republic of China kind of fanned out accordingly. There are units in, he had units in Shenxi, which attacked Chahar. Szechuan was already contested. He nabbed that, and he knocked out Hopei. Also, Empire of China attacked Zhejiang and knocked that out as well. So he's got, there's only 4 Imperial Empire of China units left on the board. So looking like the Central Powers will have the China point very shortly, or no, they have it currently. They have the most territories, but they're like, Central Powers are very overwhelmingly likely to get the China point. Now, speaking of points, here is what we're looking at. Okay, Allies now have the Western Front point. They now have the favorable trade point. They still have the Russian Revolution point, and they have the Africa point. Central Powers have the Balkans, the Black Sea, Belgrade, the Empire point. They have China, and they currently have the Pacific Colonies point, but that will more than likely go to the Allies. So right now, and Central Powers have 3 minor cities. They still have 4 minor cities. So they have that. So right now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 technically, but it's basically a 6 to a 5 right now, to a 4, technically 4, but likely to be 5. So it's going to become a close game. It's everything's tightening, so to speak. So fun stuff. I got an Austria-Hungary to turn to update, and then waiting on Madman to do his his Russian turn, and then I can get into my Germany turn, and we'll just keep this game going and probably finish. I imagine we're going to finish this out before the end of the month, so that's always fun. All right, cool. My recaps have been on average about 20 minutes, and I'm just past 20 minutes, so fun stuff. Thanks for watching, yeah, stay tuned for the next recap.